big fight wouldn't be a big fight if there wasn't a few problems. And of course with this fight it was all going along very nicely. The top of the bill was the WBO light heavyweight champion Jürgen Bremer against Nathan Clifford, the unbeaten fighter from Swansea who used to train with the Kawasaki's. Well, of course that all fell out of bed about 48 hours ago, and a new opponent was sought, and for 24 hours there was no opponent, and now there is an opponent, Tony Bellew from Liverpool. We'll be hearing from Tony a bit later on. And so I caught up with Nathan, and I started obviously by asking him, Nathan, when did you find out?
Basically it was on the cards yesterday evening, so that's the situation. Let's just get on with it. It's you know, it's going to be a great fight, great night of boxing, and I'm fit, I'm ready to fight, so a great performance hopefully.
Did you have doubts about Bremer, you know, for the last 7 or 8 months? Did you always feel there was a danger he could pull out or vanish, or?
Yeah, to be fair, I always felt that, you know, he wouldn't turn up. I trained as though he was turning up, and I trained as though Bremer would have been here fighting Saturday, but that's the case. I had a phone call saying he hasn't arrived at the airport. You know, I couldn't believe it initially. You know, I was obviously disappointed, but what can I do? I'm here, I'm ready. So in steps a replacement, and let's go to town.
Well, at least with Bellew, you know, you've seen him fight, you've seen him on TV, you've been in his company, you've been ringside, so at least it's not a complete unknown like that guy they threw at you back in Liverpool, which was a pain in everyone's jacksie.
Well, that's it. Bellew, he's known throughout the boxing public in Britain. So it's another good grudge match to go on the bill. And in terms of my style against Bellew, I think, you know, I should prove I'm a different league to him.
Which of course is what you said, you know. When you first had that confrontation, it seemed to me that you weren't doing it intentionally to be nasty. It seemed to me that you were just telling the truth, saying he's a lovely kid, Tony, but he's just not in my league. And he interpreted it differently, but that's what I thought it was originally, Nate.
Yeah, I think that's what it is basically. You know, he might be a nice guy, and so I've heard in general life, but in boxing terms he has got a loud mouth, and he says he's going to knock out everyone. He says he's going to KO me, so we're here now. I'm ready to fight. Let's see what he's got. In some ways, and finally, in some ways the fans are actually getting a better fight than you and Bremer. Okay, you know, Bremer's tough, he's hard, he's got that bit of history, but Bellew's potentially far more exciting and far more approachable. Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of the British public, this is probably a better fight because people want to see this fight. It's two British guys with a grudge, and you know, there's been a few verbals between us, so it's a bit more animosity around this fight than myself and Bremer. Bremer was very silent, you know, so he didn't create much atmosphere, but this fight has got all the atmosphere, and it's going to be a great fight, and you know, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take this guy apart.
Tony Bellew did make the press conference. It was a bit late, but he did get here in the end, and well, it was a bit lively, to say the least. There was a bit of swearing. I think Sky had to stop broadcasting it, and we certainly can't broadcast it. But I did grab hold of Tony once it was over, and I started obviously by asking him. Well, basically by saying to him, Tony, it was obviously a bit more lively than possibly you even expected.
I'm not shocked by nothing, mate. I've been in this business quite a long time now. I've been all around the world in this business, so nothing shocks me anymore. It is what it is.
But he did start it by saying, let's go outside.
Listen, mate, there's one thing that there's not many people that can do is take me outside. I've been raised on a street, mate. You only look at where I'm from. I'm from a city that's born on fighting, that prides themselves on fighting. Not taking nothing what I've got, mate. You better kill me before you beat me.
Were you surprised by that? I was.
He's trying to get under my skin. That's all he's trying to do. He's messing with the wrong kind of kid. But I told him, when you look in my eyes, you're looking in the eyes of something you've never seen before. It's like you're looking at the devil himself. I'm that dark.
Now, on the night, Tony, 17,000, 18,000 people there. Can you keep your cool when you walk to the ring?
Use my brain. I've got just as good a boxing brain as him. Didn't win 3 ABA titles for nothing. I never lost a duel international on TV in my life. So I'll go in and do what I've got to do.
As I was leaving the arena, I saw Johnny Greaves coming in. He'd been outside for a crafty few minutes on his own. Now, Johnny's record is a strange one. It's 62 defeats with 3 wins. But I know it sounds mad, he is actually a good fighter. And generally, he's the one doing all the winding up, not the main attractions. in the main fights. And so I grabbed hold of John and just thought I'd grab a word of him, and started by asking him that it must have been quite entertaining watching all the so-called big names lose their minds at the press conference.
Absolutely. It does make you laugh. I suppose it's all about selling the ticket. If it was me in there against one of them lads, I know I'd be able to wind them up after 10 seconds and get them head hunting. So, yeah, it'd been an easy night's work.
You can see why they do it, can't you? I mean, you can see why Bellew was trying to get cleverly upset, James was trying to get... Because that's what you do in all your fights.
To be fair, I think Tony did well there. I think he got under Nathan's skin.
He won today, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. I think he did, and I think it'd be quite an interesting fight now, to be fair.
Now, John, every time I get you on the show, people send in emails and say, well, hold on a minute, Bunce, you said he's a good fighter, but he's lost 56, he's lost 59, he's lost 62. If you had to explain what it is you do, okay, how would you describe it?
To be fair, I mean, I've normally got 3 or 4 jobs booked in straight after my next fight, so obviously I've always got an eye on keeping myself preserved, stop myself from getting cut or stopped. Listen, I can fight when I've got a fight.
Yeah.
If I was going to go in there all guns blazing, I could do it. No problem at all. I know I can fight.
If you've got a fight in 2 weeks, you want to save a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, most of the time you're fighting 7 days afterwards. So the idea is to not get cut, not get stopped, get through, pick up the wages.
And of course, the good thing about this one is it's on your doorstep almost.
Absolutely.
It's
fantastic.
like your own marina.
Saves me a trip home from up north. It's fantastic.
But it doesn't give you an advantage.
Not at all, no, not at all. Like I say, I mean, on these big shows, on the big Frank Warren bills, you're always boxing against the next up-and-coming star. So, like I say, a ring's a ring. They're all a tough job. Every job's a tough job. So, I'm expecting to just get in there and do my stuff, really, wind them up and get through.
So that was the big, and I mean the big press conference at the O2 today. Now, I've been at some serious press conferences over the years. I was at a couple of Herbie Hyde press conferences that went Pete Tong, to say the least. He was rolling around one day in a hotel sort of on a roof with a guy called Michael Bent. That was ugly. They both got severely fined. I got splashed with water. We get all the sort of malarkey around Eubank and Ben at press conferences, and David Hay and Klitschko. Well, no, they don't really count. Now, what we saw today at the O2 was good, proper, genuine animosity. And some of the language, was it uncalled for? Well, not really, because that's how people talk when they're challenged. These are fighting men. You know, they don't go to etiquette school, they go to gyms. You know, they don't come from nice houses with parents who are professionals. If they've got 2 parents in the house, they're not professionals. I'm not lumping them together, I'm just giving you the realities of it here. And the reason why I'm doing this big, long, rambling thing now is you're probably going to see an awful lot in the papers tomorrow, okay? A lot is going to be made of the swearing. Yeah, a couple of them swore. You know what? I could walk out of this office here and go and get on the tube, and I bet you, I'll set my stopwatch, I bet you within 5 minutes of being on the tube I hear worse language. So, you know, let's get that right. And was there anything that could have actually been done today? Not to necessarily avoid it, but could have been done? No way. Frank Warren looked shaken, and big Dominic Negus, who was one of the security, to be honest with you, he had his work cut out, pulling Tony Bellew away. And as for James DeGale and George Groves, well, they got up. They should have laughed and made a joke about these 2 other cranks on the top table. There was a lot of talk about fighting for the purse, you know, so whoever wins gets both purses. And I hope that was nonsense, because they're professionals and the people around them are professionals. And gambling your earnings is not right. It's just not right. So I'm hoping that's going to go away. Again, you may read something about that tomorrow. You listen to Steve Bunce.